So again, we're saying that Melchizedek is giving him the blessing that all of the things that Avram has done was something that the Supreme God managed to put into Avram's hand to do. He gave Avram the privilege of being the one who all of these events would happen through him. Vayiten lo, and he gave for him with a mercha, lightly connected to what's come from before, but mostly moving forward into what's going to go afterwards. Number 7, Avram realized the sincerity of Melchizedek, and he gave for him a donation as a thanksgiving to God of Avram, as expressed by the directional shape of the reading mark. So Avram is going to give to Melchizedek in recognition of Melchizedek's realization of the spiritual element and how things were caused by God, literally given by God into Avram's hand to do. So he realizes that Melchizedek at least has part of the answer here of the organization of the world. So he has to give him recognition for being above most of the people of the generation. So he gave him a 10th maaser with a tipcha. This is a closing note which focuses back on the previous word, number 8. The gift consisted of a 10th of Avram's total possessions, which was the first established charity, tzedakah, as an obligation of every Jew. Maaser, giving a 10th, as specified by the closing shape of the directional reading note. So we always have a phrase that says Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim, that what the forefathers did is an object lesson, is something that we need to realize that is something that is a desirable characteristic, a desirable trait, a desirable thing to do, and we have to bring that into our lives, into our observance. And Avram's giving a 10th of what he has, a 10th of his possessions, to somebody who has shown a spiritual enlightenment, or somebody who has a need. Again, teaches us that is the way that we give charitable gifts. Mikol, from most, with a stabilizing sof pasuk. Having foreseen the laws of the Torah, Avram gives him 1/10 from most of his goods, a maaser. And again, the stability is that this is something that's going to be established as a law amongst the Jewish people. And remark, Vayitin lo maaser mikol, and he gave for him 1/10 from most. The Zohar says that God gave Avram 1/10 from most blessings of the world, opening for him the doors of belief. In my opinion, just as Noach had access to superior wisdom by being granted the understanding of the Aleph Beit, so Avram was given the Aleph of Anochi, which was 1/10 of the commandments, from which he could deduce all 10, i.e. the whole Torah with the 613 mitzvot in it. So we have the concept in Zohar of when you see the beginning of something, it almost has a genetic sense to it. You have a code written in DNA that doesn't look at all like a walnut tree, but if you could read what's on that DNA, you'd realize that it's going to eventually turn into a walnut tree. So when you have the Aseret HaDibrot, when you have the 10 Commandments, you can in fact deduce all of the 10 Commandments from the first 2. I'm God, don't have any other God, and therefore all of the other rules flow from that. And not only that, the second one you can deduce from the first one, if I'm God, therefore you don't have any other gods. And not only that, if God has an existence, then you have to acknowledge it. So if you say Anochi, I am, then you would deduce the entire first one from that. And in fact, to say that I am aluf, I am the one who is above all, comes from the word aleph, comes from the letter aleph. So I am the one above all. You can deduce anochi from just the letter aleph. So Torah is written in an organic unfolding from a root, and therefore when you look at the root of something, you have this multi-potential thing that's hidden inside of it. So Avram was given this secret of Aleph to build Anochi from, to build the Ten Commandments from, and the Ten Commandments, in fact, categorically would reflect all 613. Each one is a root from which you can derive others of the 613 mitzvot. So all 613 mitzvot are in fact hidden within the Ten Commandments, and hidden within the first two, which are hidden within the first one, which are hidden within the first word, which are hidden within the first letter. So Avram has that secret. Noach was given the secret of understanding the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. The word et goes from aleph to taf, goes from the beginning to the end. So Noach had the secret of all of the letters, and the letters define words, and the words define the essence of creatures. When Adam named each of the creatures, v'kol asher yikra loha Adam nefesh chaya hu shemo, anything that Avram would call, that Adam Arishon would call something, that was its name. That's what defined it. That's what gave it presence. Noach, knowing the secret of all of the letters, was able to have a connection with all of the creatures, and therefore he was able to, like, how are you going to entice a rhinoceros to come follow you?
Chocolate.
So so he understood their nature, because he understood the letters, and the letters define the words, and the words define the essence of the being, and that was Noah's secret. That's how Noah could get all the animals to follow him onto the ark, and that's how Noah would know that when God tells him get every plant and get every animal, how's he going to know he has everyone? Has he had all of them? Has he traveled everywhere? Does he know? Does he know what's in New Zealand? So the answer is, by knowing the letters, he would know the completeness of it when he had them all. Mm-hmm. Right? Because otherwise he wouldn't know when he was finished. Like hockey cards. Agreed. They come with numbers on them. As we read through the sentence, Uvaruch kel elyon, that phrase is going to stand apart. That Melchizedek begins this sentence by blessing God. Asher migein tzarecha, and we note that those two words define something talking about the people who were taken captive, rather than actually the battle itself, which is again an interesting twist to the phraseology of the words here. Biadecha, this is what Melchizedek is coming to the realization, that God let Abraham do all of this. And because of that word, biadecha, which stands all by itself alone with an elevating note, that's where Avram comes to the realization, by Jove, you've got it. This, all of a sudden he says, Melchizedek has sort of cracked a little bit of the way the world works, and he does deserve some recognition. Vayiten lo maser, and he gave him a tenth. He establishes this. Mikol. Pause tape for a second.